How's it trending? And what can we do to involve Brazil more in the world's leadership of standing up to authoritarian regimes and being part of the free nations?
Continue to engage, Congressman. We have a foreign liaison officer at United States Southern Command, the second one from Brazil. We need to keep that relationship and build upon that. And it's through our exercise program. I really think that we're able to continue to build that. We have a very good mill-to-mill. I have the Chief of Defense that's visiting the Southcom headquarters this coming Monday and Tuesday of next week. And then I will go to Brazil next month and visit with the Minister of Defense as well as the Chief of Defense again. But it's to build that trust. We have a brand new administration that's in the seat. And so clean slate, and we got to move out.
Thank you. Would you benefit from having more Navy and Air Force presence in the southern part of South America?
I would say our presence from Team USA in the region, as I said earlier, getting down into the southern cone, because it is a little bit further, and it takes, we need to visit our partners there. We need to be with them on the field. We need to meet with them in person. We need to do exercises in that region and be present, because there's a lot of, I think that's why the PRC has been able to gain inroads in the southern cone of Latin America, because we're not there. We're not there to compete with them on the field.
Que quieren prácticamente invadir Argentina, Bolivia y Chile. Esa es la excusa que pone esta mujer. Pero lo que no comparten es precisamente lo siguiente.
Just the attention and the focus on this region and show that this region matters. This region is full of resources, and I worry about the malign activity of our adversaries taking advantage of that, looking like they're investing when they're really extracting. We have the lithium triangle in this region. 60% of the world's lithium, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, have this. And it's taking resources away from these countries and from their people that are trying to deliver, these democracies that are trying to deliver for their people.
You said that 60% of the lithium in the world supply of lithium comes from South America. What percentage of that 60% is actually controlled by the PRC?
I don't have the answer to that, but I could try to get that for you from one of our interagency partners.
Would you say it's a significant amount?
It's when you talk to the U.S. ambassadors for Chile and Argentina, and then the companies that are there, the aggressiveness of the PRC and the ground game that they have with the lithium is very advanced and very aggressive.
Yeah, look, I don't think that combating China, combating the PRC in South America, because I do believe that that's our greatest threat. It's just going to take military. It's going to be the military. Although you all do a great job in the partnerships, it's actually an economic. And I believe that for far too long we have ignored our own backyard and allowed Russia, China, Iran, adversaries to the United States to actually make great footholds into our region.
It's really just the attention and the focus on this region and show that this region matters.
Prácticamente están diciendo que han ignorado por mucho tiempo su patio trasero. O sea,
why in the world is the United States in Somalia and attacking civilians in Somalia?
Well, because that's the habit of the United States. We're going to talk about that.
We found natural resources?
There are natural resources in Somalia. If you have been following the Black Hawk Down incident since 1993, the United States has been in Somalia, and that continues. But now media reports are that the U.S. had an airstrike in Somalia that killed at least 7 people in January, most of them kids. Most of them were young boys, 3 brothers and 4 other young boys. So we're going to tell you about that. Somalia has been suffering from infighting from Al-Shabaab, which is an affiliate of Al-Qaeda. That is what the United States has long since admitted. And we're going to discuss that fight in a second, but first the details. Here, according to airwars.com, this is a watchdog group that watches airstrikes that hit civilians and non-civilians. And the reports are that this took place in January 30th. Local news reported 7 victims between the ages, the youngest was 8, and the oldest was 20. 3 of them were brothers. Here is, according to the Somali news agency Kasimada. Now, I had to use a Google Translate for this because I don't speak this language, so you will just sort of excuse the translation if it's crude. It says, these young civilians who were killed were detained in a place where Al-Shabaab members are being prosecuted. So the 3 brothers were being accused of being a part of Al-Shabaab, but had not actually been It was not definitive that they were. That's where the bombing was targeted. Some of the local people they contacted confirmed that 3 of the youths were initially arrested by al-Shabaab because of the chaos in the area, while the other 4 were just taking them for lunch. And that's how they encountered the bombing. Either they were taking them to lunch or they were taking them their lunch. Again, the translation is not clear on that. The U.S. has admitted that it is fighting al-Shabaab, but the deputy of this district where the strike was reported said this. Speaking to the media, the deputy Mahas district commissioner confirmed that the deaths of the 7 villagers as a result of the strike believed to have been carried out by the U.S. military. He carried on the military, both the Somali and the U.S., or he called on them to consult with local administration before conducting any airstrike to save the lives of the people in al-Shabaab-held areas. The U.S. often carries out airstrikes in parts of Somalia when the army of the country carries out operations against the areas where al-Shabaab organization is located. Now, I want to flash back to late 2021 for a minute here, because you may recall that Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said that the U.S. would be more transparent from now on when air raids and strikes hit civilians. Remember this? This was in 2021 after the New York Times exposed an air raid on Syria in 2019 that was hidden from the public, because you may recall that an internal assessment from the Pentagon lawyers said that this could be classified as a war crime, this strike on Syria, where over 60 people were killed. Most of them were women and children, but the Pentagon at the time had said, well, 12 of them were ISIS. So we did get the bad guys, the other 48, collateral
just
damage.
So you know, they generally take males that are age 11 and higher and just can count them as military targets because they're of military age, when they may have not been military at all. That is a tactic that they use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the way, we should also point out ISIS, who we fund. So, I see. There are 11 ISIS members that we're funding.
Right.
Okay, just to be clear.
Yeah.
And Al-Qaeda as well?
Now, kind of look at some of the language. I want to skim through this document that Lloyd Austin said at the time when he said that the Pentagon would do better. Let's just look at some of the quotes. Like, we're committed to adjusting our policies and holding our senior leaders responsible. We'll work hard to avoid causing harm to civilians. We can work harder. We take this seriously. We're committed to protecting them. We have more work to do. Committed to doing better, right? I mean, this reads like a performance review at an office job, not a we really should not be killing civilians. It's like, we're going to try not to, basically. Is how that isn't that what you get from that?
We're going to give it the old heave ho.
Yeah, that killing civilians, we're going to try not to do that.
When you have someone like Madeleine Albright, former Secretary of State, who literally tells us that the killing of innocent civilians and children specifically is okay. And according to her, that she's fine with that. And, that's just part of it's collateral damage. That's fine. She can live with that.
Well, this is what she said about Iraq, right? That when, there are